I'm gonna ask y'all this: do you guys think that somebody that hates, would you say that that's a masculine trait?
Could you repeat that?
Hate, hate.
Hate. Do
Well,
somebody that
so I,
hate could
Somebody that
that
A
hates
be
man
you.
a
that's hating
masculine
on
trait?
another man is
I-
that's on the
I'm
trait.
just asking:
well, well
would that be
so
What
considered a masculine trait?
what would
I, I,
be
I don't think so.
yeah, because you can dislike people like the same thing he just mentioned with
Hmm.
Andrew Tate. Like even if I saw him and I didn't like some of his talking points, men are very good with reading men. In my view and vision of him, and hearing the little bit of speaking and communication that I did receive, I would perceive him as a masculine male. Even us growing up, when we're children, we could tell which guys were a little bit
Okay,
softer.
so then what makes a masculine man then? If you can tell, then in your opinion, what makes a masculine man? If you could define it in 3 words.
It's more of your aura, your presence, and your walk.
What you gotta understand is that you can be fooled by that, right? I know a lot of people on the internet are fooled by a lot of men that they look up to, and they're just as delusional as the women that they complain about. Like they
I
have
can
no
see that.
idea of the traits because it's masked so well. It looks good, but if they only knew, then they would have a different outlook. So one may argue that being a masculine, having masculine traits is going to be subjective. It all depends on that person.
So let me answer that question. Somebody who's consistent, somebody who's got standards and they hold themselves to them.
You can still be fooled with that, Hank.
Yeah, yeah, but it's hard to if they're inconsistent.
It's not hard, man. It's not.
I don't know, man,
You
because
can
I'm
you can
I'm
tell
yeah,
when
seeing
your
it.
boys
I,
are real
somebody got
I
to
see
boys.
it.
repeat.
I see it happen daily that people operate on this frequency, but there's different frequencies, and you have to be able to look at everything. Like a lot of people don't have the independent mindset. A lot of people they follow the crowd. They don't question. They don't look a little bit deeper.
well, I think that's the point that Hink is trying to make.
Yeah,
I think it's the security in what it is that you believe, the values that you have. Even
Yeah.
if everybody doesn't agree with it, even if it's against the grain, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down in this thing. If that broad is a heifer, that motherfucker is a heifer. I don't care if she a wife, a side chick, whatever the case may be. To Hink's point, I think that is solely based off of, to me, masculinity is how strong are you willing to stand for what it is that you believe in. Now, if you're doing something, if you're saying one thing, you're presenting one thing, and the entire time you're doing something else behind the closed doors, then that's not masculine. You're not being
no,
your true self.
no.
So
Right. So right. But if that's going on, you wouldn't know.
you would know. It's only it's
Somebody,
only, it's only
but
so
now
long
somebody
that
gonna know. Somebody gonna know
You
whether
only
it's
can
the
hide for
woman
so
he dealing
much.
with, whether it's his family members. Somebody gonna call him call him to the carpet on that bullshit
yeah,
if that's
it's
something
only
to
so
do with
long
him.
that's gonna last.
Yeah, but I think JR is asking, how do you know without all the other elements to verify? And JR, I'm gonna attempt to answer your question. I'm gonna attempt to answer it, and Cookie could back this up if she wants. Um, so I got three categories that a masculine man has to do. The first one is sacrifice himself for the greater, for his family and for his people. So that's number one. If you don't sacrifice yourself, then you're not really a leader. Because a leader leads his life. The second thing I would say is discipline. So you can have a bunch of different beliefs, but if you're not doing the thing you say you believe in, you're just a hypocrite. And the last thing I would say is love. I think love is what men display in all things, because it's love why we do what we do for everybody, right? And from sons and daughters or whatever, or your own wife. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the scriptures. The number one commandment the Most High gave to men is to love their wife. So men are the example of love on all fronts. So those three things I just mentioned to me would prove to me, and you can verify that as a masculine trait.
I mean, that's on a biblical level, man. Like one of the frequencies that exists is reality on Earth, right? So you got the biblical, and you can check all the boxes biblically, but I was raised a certain way, and I have my viewpoint on how I look at masculinity. And once I see somebody do some foul shit, I just don't have no respect for them. I don't care what nobody. I have to be the one to determine and evaluate if that person is masculine or not. I don't care what the thousands of people do. When I look at people, they're just humans to me. I wish I would put another man on the pedestal. I almost said the N word, but I'm reformed now. I wish I would put another man on a pedestal. I don't worship no man at all. So while a lot of people are blinded by most men out here, it's some things that it's just how I was raised. I don't do. They sissies.
So
Sassy.
it's kind of like if you got two different tribes neighboring each other, you may not like the walk of life or how he's sneaky or snaky, but that doesn't take away from him being a man. If y'all standing face to face and they get ready to come to blows and both of y'all ready to blow and bang it out, those are two masculine men. You just don't like certain qualities and traits about this other man.
Yeah,
But that
but you
doesn't
just
take away from him being a
what is it?
masculine man. Even if he's a snake or he's sneaky and doing all of these other weird things that we don't agree with, that don't take away. That just means he's an unhealthy, unfit masculine man, but he's still masculine.
But
I
is
mean, you
masculine?
can be in a prison system with all of these men, and you can tell which ones are masculine and which ones are more feminine. Yes, they may, even the guys out here in the streets that's gangbanging, just because they doing things that we may all not agree on doesn't take away from their masculinity or their manhood. They're just
Yeah, but
doing things on a different spectrum.
you're talking about somebody who's tough or who thinks they tough and
Yeah,
make,
that's different.
go from the shoulder. That's nice. That's cool. But that doesn't make him masculine just because he can fight or he can argue or
That's
anything like that. That doesn't make him. Look,
Women
let me
can fight, like women fight. So
it takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight.
right.
That man to me is more masculine than that man's gonna get in there and throw blows. Why? Because he knows the backlash that's gonna come his way. But yet he's ready to stand on his point. He's ready to stand on whatever standards he is. He's being consistent. Whether you think a snake dude's been, no, he's not being consistent. Because guess what? In the next breath, that snake man was gonna do something that's right, and then he's gonna flip flop again. Now, I don't think he's a masculine man. I think he's a weak, a backstabbing type man.
Yeah,
I
I agree
know.
with those
Hold
And
on, y'all.
adjectives.
Hold
I
on.
definitely would put
Hold
those
on, y'all. We got
adjectives on it, but
Yeah, I would say we got Cookie. I know we only got one lady on there, so let Cookie go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. I can't speak for JR, but what I think what he's trying to say is that when you talk about masculinity, unlike looks, which you can look in the mirror and say I'm a 10, but what I'm saying is when you're talking about people's personality and masculinity as a trait, sometimes the man in the mirror be lying to y'all ass, and it depends on the person who's viewing you. And from I can tell you from a woman's standpoint what we look for in a masculine man, real quick, and then what we look for in a dude that get cut. Like, for instance, masculine man, we're out somewhere and I didn't cause anything, but it's getting people getting roughed up. He don't have the sense to get us up out of a situation where it's getting dangerous. That's a strike. That's not masculine to women. We sitting down at a table and he hating on another dude because he dressed nice and he think I might be liking him. That's weird. That's like That's not very masculine. So it's certain things like just whole Han activity, HAN activities that would label you as not a masculine man. And I think that's what JR is trying to say. It depends on how that person experiences you in order for you to be considered masculine. Like Andrew Tate in person is I think a horrible person when it comes to women. Like and I mean, you know what his case in Britain. Y'all can look that up later. It even goes deeper than that. But like he said, you don't put anybody on a pedestal, and it's about trust and respect for women. So when we look for masculinity, and women don't like it, but we want to see that you looking at ass. Like that was a fat ass that walked by. If you ain't looking, we're like, you know what?
But
What
that's
Men
was you
don't
that's
looking
cheat,
at?
right?
Because
Men
I
don't cheat.
looked.
So
You know
that's
what
what I
I'm
say.
saying?
Men don't
Like,
cheat, right? Cookie, men don't
masculinity.
cheat, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
what looking at a woman's ass as she walks by. That's not masculinity.
it
I
was a
wouldn't put that on the
joke.
But
same
no, I get
level.
that.
It
But
actually is actually.
I'm
It
saying we
actually
just got
is.
to go off of
It
what
actually
you're
is.
saying.
It
I,
was a
I
joke.
also
yeah.
think that the mirror does not lie to you. The mirror is going to show you exactly what it is that you are. Now, what you tell yourself is something completely different. But the mirror is going to tell you exactly what it is that
I
you
agree with that.
and
It's
just to
dead
put
in
it,
your face. You just
yeah,
you
just to put it out there too, it's the same thing like confidence. Like I don't think every man is confident in everything. Like they may be confident in the things that majority of men respect, but when they're not in the presence of these men, I don't think that they're confident. It all depends on like what battery they got in their back. It all depends on like what incentives that they may have, the accomplishments that they may have achieved, which may give you the perception of confidence. But if they was put into a situation where they will fold, like they will fold. The reason why this is an important conversation is not to point the finger. It's going to be up to you as far as who you look up to be as masculine, whether it be yourself, whether it be somebody you encounter. But I just want to stir the pot a little bit in y'all mindsets to get y'all to think outside of the box and how you look at people and how you look at life. Like you got to question everything. Everybody's a suspect, even your family, your
what
damn kids.
was so
So if your kids exhibit some behavior where you can't sleep at night, that motherfucker might got to be on the outside of the other side of the door because you got to be able to sleep at night. If you think they're gonna buck, where they gonna try something crazy, it
So
is what it is.
the
But
question
question everything.